Most people don't fail because the goal is wrong. They fail because the method doesn't match their natural style. When you set goals, either personal or professional, based on your disc, they finally stick. You don't only start them, but you sustain them forward. So why we're talking about this is because New Year's is right around the corner. Everyone kind of has in the back of their mind if they want to do a New Year's resolution, new goals, what do they want to achieve for this upcoming year? And statistically, New Year's goals die before February. 80% of goals in the new year die after that first month. People are trying to discipline themselves or shame themselves on why another goal didn't stick. But that's not what we're doing here. We're trying to channel that natural productivity, that natural energy that's within us. And so when you can align goals and how you're going to implement them, the method, you can naturally operate into that new habit because now it motivates you. It's flowing where your energy naturally goes, and it helps you stay accountable to sustain it for the long haul. So, what is DISC? DISC is behavioral patterns naturally in us that shape how we take action. DISC influences how you plan things out, how you respond to setbacks and adapt forward, what kind of structure you need to sustain it for the long haul, and then what drain and fuels that type of energy. So let's align your New Year's goals to your natural style. Let's start with D's, dominance. These are our reds. These are fast, decisive, results oriented people. So they can self-sabotage them when they get bored quickly, or they make too aggressive goals that aren't even attainable in the timeline that you have set or the lifestyle you have. So when progress slows, they end up quitting. So if you're a fast mover, results oriented, you want to switch some of your strategy around this goal to be a clear challenge, obtainable, and has measurable wins throughout the process, because that long win is going to be discouraging. So having those micro moments or milestone wins along the way is going to amp up that natural energy. Now, when you break down those long-term goals into weekly wins or milestones, that's going to keep the momentum going forward, and you need to establish realistic deadlines because that's going to create urgency without failure. When you take on too big of a goal and you don't break it down, or when you break it down, it's not super attainable, you start to get discouraged and you think that the overall goal is not going to be obtainable. So be realistic when you're setting these timelines and what you're biting off to chew as you adjust lifestyle into these new habits. Now, the support system, if you are a D, that's going to help you along the way with these new goals is going to be some competition. Maybe it's dashboards. Maybe it's visible scorecards. Is someone in your household also doing this? You're going to be a little bit more competitive. So dive into one of those natural energy strengths that you have and create some competition. You're also going to want those short check-ins, maybe weekly, so that you are measuring in those short milestones versus that big overall goal. Will those short milestones make it to the big overall goal? Yes, that's the whole plan. But when you have it in these shorter weekly segments, it's going to keep a lot of that energy needed in that support system that D's, the fast-paced, results-oriented work styles, need in their goal planning and sustainability. Now let's talk about our eyes. Eyes are influence, our yellows. These are a little bit more social, so they actually will thrive with more connection. How they self-sabotage them is they get really excited at the start, excited to do the new thing. They'll even buy equipment for exercising or a journal, or they're going to get so excited about the initial phase of it, planning it out, maybe in the first couple weeks, but then they lose interest and they start to disengage. And they might even overcommit because they don't actually want to follow through with the end goal. So their strategy is going to be a little bit more social or collaborative. So if they want to exercise, maybe it's exercise classes or an accountability partner to go exercise with. They're going to need some of that buddy system in place because they're more externally motivated with the social nature of them than internally motivated. So getting a buddy system or classes that you're going to commit to with each other is going to be super helpful to have that in your strategy. Now, I's, just like D's, are fast-paced, and they also like change, frequent change. So if you're thinking of doing this workout or this new habit every single day, week over week over week, you're going to get bored. You're going to get disengaged. So as an I, if you recognize these behaviors already, make sure that you have a variety. Make sure that you have high and low routines. So maybe you want to do things in the morning, but sometimes you're sluggish in the morning. Have a low routine. So you're still maintaining the basics of this new habit, this new goal, but you just don't have the energy level for it. That's okay. You're still doing the basics. And then when you do have energy, you can do the high routine and you can have that variety. Same with if you have a fluctuating lifestyle. For example, I have 3 kids, and any given morning, there's one thing happening over another, or maybe we have activities tonight, or maybe we're really rushed so we can't do that homemade dinner. I need to have some flex in there, some variety that I can grab from so I can still work towards this goal, but it might not look the same every day. Now, the support system that eyes are going to need is sharing the journey with someone. Again, they don't want to do this solo. They'll check out sooner than later. They'll disengage right away. So you want to make sure it's more of a group effort. And you could even be on different parts of this journey or different journeys, but knowing that they're doing something, working towards a goal together is going to bring that social aspect, that group aspect to them to sustain this habit. And the other thing that they're going to need is some more fun challenges and celebrations. So if you just want a check mark off your list on the daily things, great. But when you hit that big milestone, are you taking yourself out to eat? Are you buying the thing? Are you doing something to celebrate that win? Eyes, again, are social, celebratory type of people. So make sure that you celebrate those small wins. Otherwise, you might pass by these big milestones towards that overall goal and lose momentum when you're already halfway there. So celebrating those small wins start to add up over time. All right, let's move over to our S's. If you are an S, you're a little bit more methodical and steady. You want consistency and you're detail aware. So you're going to self-sabotage by doing too much change at once or doing support towards other people's goals before your own, serving others before you serve yourself. And you can get overwhelmed when you start something new. So when S's see maybe a D or an I type of style take on a New Year's goal and they just jump right in, they think, yeah, I should do that too. But you have to remember you're a little bit more slower paced, methodical, more detailed orientated. So that is too much change at once. So you're actually setting yourself up for failure from the beginning because you're overwhelming yourself when you could have gradually changed one little thing every day into that change. Those work styles move fast. That's how they thrive. Go where you thrive, which means you want to look into things. You want to test the waters. You want to adjust a little bit every day. And that's going to be your new habit. So in your strategy, start small. Build it up gradually. Grab one little change at a time, one little ingredient change in your meals, one change in your workout, one shift in that morning habit, one script reframe that you're saying out if you're a people pleaser, right? Do you see where little small things can start to compound over time towards that change? That's going to be more of your style to make this new habit, this new goal stick. And then you're not looking for high variety and high change. You want predictable routines. So think about the routines you have right now. And can you do some habit stacking? Habit stacking means, say I wake up, I shower, I brush my teeth. Well, if you're trying to drink more water before coffee in the morning, maybe you stick that water in between shower and brushing teeth, right? Those things are on autopilot already. So habit stacking is just sticking a new habit or a new routine item in between the routines you already have. Don't overcomplicate it. And as you're applying this strategy, you want to make sure that you have a great support system because again, you're usually serving others before yourself. So maybe quiet spaces, maybe dedicated space just for you in that routine. Maybe it's gentle accountability from others that you're working towards something. So you can't take on that right now, or you need to establish some boundaries so you're not overloaded all the time and you're focusing on your goal. Encouragement instead of pressure is going to be your friend. D's and I's like pressure. They like that external outer accountability. For you, you want more of an encouragement that you're going the right direction, that you're doing the right thing, that you want to celebrate the wins together. You don't want the pressure, right? You don't want that exercise coach in the front of the room screaming at you. That's more of a D and an I thing, right? They have a little bit more competitiveness to them. You want the gentle coaching. You want someone that's on your side, guiding you at a pace that feels natural to you. Now let's talk about C's. C's are our compliance, our blues, and they're very analytical. They love structure and they love accuracy. So they self-sabotage themselves when they start New Year's goals or any goals from over planning. That analysis paralysis from underdoing the actual activity and over planning it, over looking into research, going down black holes and things that they didn't even want to get into, but they're getting into that analysis paralysis. They want to perfect every piece of the puzzle before they start building the puzzle. And so that perfectionism can slow them down from even starting the goal. And this all goes back to their own self standards that they have set up. They set the bar pretty high and they have a fear of failure if they don't hit that. So that's some ways that the goals never even get started, or they are fearful of starting something new, or the goal might be too big. So what you want to do in your strategy, if you're a high C, this analytical mind, is to break goals down to the microsteps, similar to D's, but this is more for detail and information, checks and balances. Do you feel comfortable to move on to the next step? Versus D's are just slightly impatient. They want to move fast and they want results now. C's are that slower paced, methodical, but they're kind of testing the waters of what is this new habit bringing me? How do I feel with this new routine? Am I in the right places, right? They're de-risking through these smaller milestones than trying to hit results. Another helpful strategy while you're establishing goals as a high C is going to be turning goals into systems, turning them into checklists, because they're very tangible and right in front of you, right? So maybe you exercise 5 times a week, or that's going to be your goal, some kind of exercise 5 times a week. Okay, what type of system do you want to set up? Do you want a checklist? Do you want an app? Do you want, I do this at lunch, so I'm going to schedule it in, right? The system of it. Do you want the people around you to understand? So again, that could be a system, is your environmental systems. How could you change your goal into a more tangible action in which you feel comfortable that you did it? You know that I did it or I didn't, that I achieved it or I did not achieve it. And that's the type of clarity that you're looking for, which means the support systems in place to make your goal successful are going to be data tracking. What's the results as you go along? How many reps or times or frequencies have you done this week versus what you committed to, right? That data tracking and analytics you're going to want. So that means using templates or planners or project progress type of metrics are going to help you jump into this new habit, new routine that you're trying to achieve. Now, the clearer the guidelines, the clearer the timelines, the easier this is going to be for you, because again, you can get lost in those black holes of all the different other stuff that you could be doing. So if you have this one specific goal, what is the clear guideline or goal or metric that you want to achieve? What's the timeline that you want to do it on? And then start grabbing the data along the way. As we kick off this new year, or maybe you're just grabbing a new goal, pick one goal. One goal for the new year. One goal for you right now. What is your disc pattern? What strategy are you going to implement, and support systems to make sure that it's not only successful, but it's sustainable? By understanding the biggest traps within these type of natural styles, you'll be able to sustain these new goals instead of quitting by February.